This episode is already interesting on a glance because it's simply called Untitled, which in itself already brings a sense of intrigue to what is to come. Now, it's interesting to me because almost all of the episodes so far have been focused around one character that we get to open up to by the end. However, this certain episode seems to be trying to give a few different characters a chance to shine versus usual. I will say, however, that this episode seems to be more focused on 3 of our characters, Ragatha, JAX'S, and Pomni, and I would say that it's more heavily based on Ragatha and JAX'S. Now, before we get into any of that though, I just want to say that I really enjoyed the whole bar scene that happened. Like, just the whole vibe of it was really nice, and it was really nice to hear almost everyone's stories somewhat. Kinger, something that intrigued me about that part is that Pomni asks about Kinger's wife, and the reactions are strange to me, and it moves on so quickly that it allows us to forget about it, and we never really get an answer from any of them, so I'm just kind of suspiciously keeping my eye on that part. Something that was brought up in the episode that I was particularly drawn to was the implication that JAX'S used to have a friend. There was a character other than the clown guy, Clothmo, that was his name, that JAX'S used to be rather close to. And we're led to believe that this person abstracted, which leads us to be more and more curious about who these characters are that we hadn't met at all. In fact, in the intermission, we see JAX'S slide to a stop in front of a door with a crossed out frog on the front of it. I'm almost positive that this is the character that was supposed to be JAX'S old friend. I will say that I am heavily enjoying the narrative foils that have been going on with Ragatha and JAX'S so far. Everything from who they are as characters to opposite things beginning to happen to them. Let me explain a little bit. JAX'S, the usually negative and closed-off character, is beginning to open up and even lighten up despite his disdain of being trapped there and his overall distaste of how the others react to being trapped there. Ragatha, on the other hand, who is usually kind and upbeat, trying to look on the bright side of things, she's beginning to close down. Not only that, but the facade is beginning to crumble, and it is just so beautiful that the story is doing these 2 arcs at the same time, because it really highlights the effects of them. Ragatha closing down would still be effective if it was alone, even if JAX'S wasn't beginning to open up, but JAX'S opening up at the same time Ragatha is closing down makes her crash out seem even more effective, and vice versa. Ragatha beginning to let things slip and crash out makes JAX'S beginning to open up shine through more as well. God, I love foils, you guys. They work so well when they're done right. This episode was also the first time we've seen the crew all just sit down and chill multiple times, which really does a lot for the writing as it's been constantly moving so far. Sitting down and getting to hear what almost everybody did for a living before getting stuck in here was really nice. I know it was for our purposes, but I do find it a little strange that the others hadn't ever talked about their formal lives to each other before Pomni had appeared. Like, this is strange to me, but I know this is probably just so we know what everybody did. Which is another thing that I really enjoy that the Amazing Digital Circus does. The characters know who they are and mostly what they used to do, but we don't. We're left in the dark about that, and I really like how the story's been doing that. I think people are dubbing this as a JAX'S episode, which is fair, but I'd argue that this is prepping up a JAX'S episode, if that makes sense. That there's going to be a JAX'S episode in the future. Because this felt more like a setup for both JAX'S and Ragatha to have some sort of incident in a future episode. Speaking of which, I am a little nervous for Ragatha. I enjoy her character quite a bit, but she's been through quite a lot and is not doing the best mentally right now, clearly. I just hope that everyone who believes she will abstract next aren't right, and if they are, I'm hoping we're at least able to figure out some things about the abstractions or are able to help Ragatha out in some way, and maybe even the other abstractions? Question mark. Also, the disappearing mannequin during the national anthem fucking broke me, you guys. My sense of humor is so broken. You know what else is broken? The like and subscribe buttons. You gotta hit them to fix them. Hit them now so you can fix and save them. It'll really mean a lot to me, and it keeps more videos like these coming out in the future. Anyway, back to the video. I also really enjoyed how we're starting to see Pomni warm up to JAX'S and honestly shy away from Ragatha, if that makes sense. I still don't really know how Pomni fully feels about Ragatha, and I feel like their relationship is kind of weird and awkward. Like, am I the only one who's feeling that? I can only assume it's because Pomni left her glitching to run away that one time and it's awkward on both ends, and I feel like they really should talk about that. You know, Ragatha said it was fine, but knowing how the show is pushing on the fact that she's too fake, I'm wondering if there's some hidden feelings about that situation that may come into light later. Plus, she was literally glitching / partly abstracting in that episode, and Kane just whooshed it away. I don't know, I'm just suspicious about that whole situation. Also, when JAX'S got turned vegan, there was a realization that may actually change the way things are viewed in the show entirely. When Kane changed JAX'S to be vegan, JAX'S remarks, "Wait, I thought he couldn't," implying that he was going to say that Kane couldn't alter their minds in any shape or way. However, if he could make JAX'S vegan, does that mean that he lied about this fact? Because he literally told them that he couldn't alter their minds. But if he could alter JAX'S in that way, that counts as his mind, doesn't it? Just saying, it's a little scary what the implications are there, and I'm a little bit nervous for the future. Overall, I'm really enjoying the light getting shown on the JAX'S, Ragatha, and Pomni trio. I feel like their dynamics with each other are all iffy and are still getting a feel for each other. But I think the three could have a cute little trio if they could learn to get along and tolerate each other. I do like that Pomni may begin to be a bridge between these two distant shores. Other than that, I know the disappearing guy at the end of the episode was probably foreshadowing, but god, it would be so fucking funny if they just never mentioned it again. Like, I think that would be so much better if they just left it at that and it was just a fucking gag. However, if things keep going the way they're going, JAX'S and Ragatha may not even have a chance to make amends, as Ragatha may be joining Kinger's wife and JAX'S friend in the void that Kane created for them. I can only hope that she gets the help she needs before it's too late. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. And you know what? What's your favorite episode of The Amazing Digital Circus so far? Mine is definitely still the Kinger episode. Yeah, and who's your favorite character? Along with that, I still think mine has to be Kinger. I think that episode was just a solid overall, and it was just, I loved it. Just let me know your opinions in the comments below on who and what episode and why those are your favorites. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and as always, I will see you all next time.